Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let's
I'll be
go.
the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting old and I don't got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance I stand. I'm going for 4 in the fucking white sand. I give it all to this fucking mic stand. If it's been done before, then I know
Get some,
I
dude.
can.
Get some. Get some. Get some. Stir it up. Stir it up. Stir it up.
Yeah.
Hey, I see the people asking about the shoulders in the comments.
Let's get it. Let's
they
get
said
it. Let's
dude
get
don't
it.
got
Let's
no
get it.
rhythm.
Let's get it. That's what they
I
said.
can't believe they said.
I can't believe they said that one. I can't believe they said that one.
Wow.
Yo, what's the deal, y'all? Hope all is well. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalon, and welcome back to another episode of the #1 podcast in all of Los Angeles. Nice and neat. What up, fellas?
Yo.
What's the dilly, bro?
Man, it's been a while since we actually been able to just check in with each other, see how each other was feeling, and just kind of slow it down for a second.
Yeah, man.
And just, matter of fact, I'm gonna start off with you, O. How you feeling, bro? Mentally, physically, spiritually. I definitely want to hear about that one from you.
Damn.
And emotionally.
Damn, thanks for checking in and asking me, bro. Today, man, I feel really good. Physically, I'm in a good space. My body feels good. That's what everyone could see, right? So I'll lead with that. You know what I mean? I'm in a really great space. My body's working. Everything feels good. Despite any injuries I've had in the past, that feels great. Mentally, I'm feeling really strong. Although, obviously, just like all of us, constantly tested on a daily, various different things that's going on in my life. But I feel really, really strong mentally. You know what I mean? I feel really tapped into myself and understanding what my mission is, going back to that word we were speaking about off camera, my mission and what my purpose is, you know what I mean? So I feel really dialed in. And spiritually, I'm in a really great place too.
You've been putting that work in.
I've been putting that work in, from my meditation to my prayer and, just staying tapped in with the word, man. So spiritually, man, I'm in a great space too. And overall, man, my spirits are high. You know what I mean? I feel like my skin is good.
Glowing.
You know what I mean? We know how we feel about that around here. So, yeah, I'm good, bro. So thank you for asking me, man. How are you feeling?
Me?
Yeah.
You. Man, thanks for asking, bro. Usually I'll be going last.
I know I switched it up. I see you
did
about to kick
switch
it
it
to
up.
Duke.
Nice little change up.
I was about to hit a
A
little
little
chest
change up.
pass. But mentally, I am doing well. I'm doing well. I'll probably say I am a 7 out of 10, but I'm only 7 out of 10 because I put an extra plate on the bench.
Okay.
That's the only reason I'm a 7 out of 10. I'm working to get stronger. I'm moving out of the comfort zone of where I was at mentally to get my mental a little bit stronger. So I like where I'm at mentally. Spiritually, I can definitely tap into my word a little bit more. That's an area where I want to even lead my relationship a little bit better. I want us to really be on one accord when it comes to the spiritual strength. And physically, man, I'm in some of the best shape of my life. I got these 5:30 workouts where
you've been getting it early, bro.
I've been going
consistently.
I've been waking up before the sun, bro.
Yeah.
Been waking up for the sun, so I've been feeling really good about that, feeling strong, feeling really optimistic about the direction of my physicality, truth be told. Feeling really strong. Heard that. And let's see, mentally, emotionally. My emotions, bro, are very consistent. I think as I'm getting older as well, I'm learning how to fully manage it. So as far as like not being too high, not being too low, sometimes I could get high, but I don't ever go too low. And I was thinking about all of us, we have coping mechanisms, right? Some people, when you are frustrated, you may smoke, you may drink, you may eat. Some people may go to the gym when they're trying to blow off some steam. And I learned what my coping mechanism is. Bro, I take naps, bro.
Shut it down.
I shut it down.
I gotta turn it
right?
off for a second.
And I had to think about it, and I had to think about what really is the importance of that for me. And the importance of it is like, I'm just glad that I don't have a bad habit when I am feeling down or I'm feeling low, and it gives me, it rejuvenates me. Now I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever I was procrastinating on to do, I could do now. and I can get to it. I get to it. So I'm feeling good. I appreciate the question. Thanks for bouncing it to me. Duke, where you at with it?
Man, I'm happy, y'all. Man, I can't complain, brother. I am, a constant work in progress, and I'm, really over the last few weeks starting to find like an elevated groove.
I feel like you in the groove right now.
Yeah, you in a little groovy.
I've done a lot of just like asking questions and speaking to people, and just taking what I'm hearing and taking the energy I'm getting and I'm pouring it into myself. So I feel good. My relationship is flourishing. I'm getting all the love I can handle. You know what I mean? My family's good. Physically, I'm in tip top. Mentally, I'm constantly learning and just taking in new information and trying to use that information to kind of just execute and better my life. And, just make more of an impact in this world with the people around me, my loved ones, and just the community and the people that support me. So I'm good, man. I'm good. The business is good. Yes, sir. All right, business has been doing well. So like a lot of the things that, I was working for are in motion right now, right? And I can't do nothing but just like celebrate where I am. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, bro, that's where I'm at with it, and I love it.
Let's celebrate where we all at right now. I like small victories. It's a small win, man. We got to celebrate the small wins in life, man.
Hey, look, okay, so let's get into it. I know.
Hold up. Time out. Before we get into it, I have been busy outside of like working on myself mentally, physically, spiritually, and all that. We've been working on the new merch. Okay. It's out. It's available. You can find it now on niceandneatthepodcast.com.
Hello.
We got tees, we got hats, we got shorts. Pick your flavor, pick your size. Tap in with us, support the brand.
Yes,
and
sir.
let us help us get it off the ground.
Yes, sir.
My bad.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Hey, we got the Nice and Neat merch.
Never
Nice and Neat merch. You guys have been asking for it. As O said, we can get it on niceandneatthepodcast.com. Make sure you guys tap in. We're going to get into it.
Let's talk about it.
We're going to get into it. So we get a lot of questions. Obviously, we get a lot of questions about relationships. And the thing that I constantly come back to, if you got questions, is because you got frustrations about relationships or
dating.
Yep. Just dating in general, right? Recently, it was a woman who was in LA and she was driving, post getting into an argument with her partner. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, she was drinking, and she sped through an intersection and 6 people got killed. She wasn't one of them, right? But this was coming off of getting into an argument with her partner. And something that stood out to me was just the emotional maturity or the emotional lack of control in certain situations that you might have with your partner, because we all have got frustrated with our partner, but it's one thing that I learned is it's like, just make sure you do the next best thing. And, just thinking about emotional maturity, hopping in a car when you've been drinking and you frustrated wouldn't necessarily be the next best thing to do. And I know myself, I've made mistakes. Made mistakes when we were younger, and thankfully I don't make those same mistakes anymore. But man, fellas, I wanted to talk today specifically about why do we suck at dating? All of us, just in general. Like, why do we suck at dating? What is that about? Because nobody's perfect at this thing. We all trying to figure it out. Why do we suck so bad?
Bro, I think the main reason that we all struggle with dating is that we look outside before we look inside, right? We look at everyone else and we look for people to solve our problems, and we look to blame people, and we look to, tell the world that it's everyone else's fault why we're struggling, and I think that the lack of just awareness and the lack of accountability is I would say the number one culprit in like dating when people are struggling. You know what I mean? I feel like if everyone, and this is men and women, if everyone took accountability for their own situation, their own emotions, and their own, everything they wanted in life, then we would be better off, right? There is no perfect answer and scenario for dating. But I think that people would be better off if they just looked inward. You know what I mean? Another thing is I think people lack discipline. You know, I think when people think discipline, they think like hard working for a job or for a body or, you know, for money or things like that. But people don't really associate discipline with like dating. And while at least maybe, you know, men have to think about discipline when it comes to not having sex with other people. But for the most part, I don't really think people use discipline in dating. I think people just think like dating is supposed to flow because I'm a guy and you're a girl and we're supposed to just like, you know what to do with each other because that's the dynamic of, you know, our nature and us as human beings. But I feel the lack of discipline is one of the reasons as well why it's so hard to date. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
I would say like a consistency too, just to add on to that too. You know,
That discipline part.
the discipline part.
Yep.
You know, you gotta have the consistency. Like you just speaking off of what you were saying. You know, like just anticipating or expecting it to flow just because you're a man and I'm a woman. Now I gotta consistently show up and be the best man possible. She's gotta show up and consistently be the best woman possible. I think another good thing for us to talk about instead of just saying like why I want to talk
what
about
you did.
why I sucked so bad at dating in the past. You know what I mean? When I think about my dating history, and I've spoke about it many times here, you know, on the show, but I think I sucked at dating before because, for one, I've been in long distance relationships, and I've treated my long distance relationships like a relationship when I was only in the face of my partner. You know what I mean? Like once I left and got outside, I was kind of like, well,
That's when you lost the consistency, you feel?
that's when I lost the consistency. You know what I mean? And just being young, I'm like, okay, I learned like, well, I'm not really good at dating long distance, right?
Yeah.
But that's part of one of the reasons why I suck at dating, because I lack consistency in the relationship at that point in time.
Yeah.
Right. But another reason why like I've sucked at dating is because I've let casual dating lead into serious relationships way too fast.
So you wasn't ready for it.
Wasn't ready for it. And I think that's a lot of our problem, speaking about why we suck at dating, because we move into situations too fast, too often.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and he was telling me how he was getting ready to move this girl to his house, and I was like,
Yo,
hey, bro.
I've been there.
I've been there. I've been there, man. Let me give you the game. You know what I mean? And this was like maybe like about a month ago, and literally yesterday, he's like, yo, I gotta holler, man. And we're talking about, you know, navigating him through a situation that's going on at the house. And I'm like, man, I feel like a lot of that could have been avoided if, you know what I mean, you would have took your time. You know what I mean? So for me too, I think it's just been rushing the casually dating phase into the serious part of the relationship way too fast.
Yeah.
That's why.
Wait, so how old were you? Like when you talking about you struggle with consistency?
And for sure, yeah.
How old
question.
are you?
Good question. And when I say dating, I really consider like my 20s.
Right.
You know what I mean? 'Cause
Right.
I was single like all the way up in, like most of my college time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I don't really count my teenage years. You know what I mean? So when I consider dating, I'm really talking about my 20s.
Same, because I think we're referring to like the time where people actually verbally say, "Man, it's hard out here."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
like,
and I think that's in your 20s.
Yeah,
You
people
know, you're
wanna
not
say-
thinking about that as
in
a
college,
teenager.
yeah, nah.
You're not thinking about that as you're going into your, well, maybe actually there are some people out here going into their 30s still saying that it is hard out here.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, 30s, 40s.
40s, yeah. But I
it's
mean,
true, right?
once you
Right,
start looking at women, it's just like once you start noticing the struggle, then it becomes okay. Here are the reasons probably why. You know what I mean?
It's crazy because you say, again, going back to what you said, like once you notice the struggle, but we don't really notice us. We always noticing the struggle.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, it's always everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
Right. But it's really maybe other people do have things to do, like have things to do about
no
it.
question.
But
no question.
we can help ourselves if we just.
sure.
What about you,
When
Jalon?
y'all say discipline, what do you mean by just having discipline in a relationship?
Man,
consistency. What do you mean by
That's
that?
a great fucking question because it's so broad, right?
Right.
But I think that discipline in certain, like discipline to follow through, right? So if I'm casually dating someone and I'm tired and I know that we made arrangements, we locked in, and I know that the more I date this person, the tighter we get. But I'm just treating it like I could just see it tomorrow. I could just get to it when I get to it. So I don't have the discipline to maintain the consistency. You know, I don't have the discipline because like maintaining consistency is discipline.
Absolutely.
Right.
But they're two different things.
Two different things,
Yeah.
but they work together. So, I mean, there are a lot of situations, bro. I think that the discipline emotions, that's a big one. So if we're dating and you tell me something that I don't like to hear and I take that to heart and I get mad and now I'm acting funny to you and I'm acting cold, right? You're not disciplined with your emotions because you're not even understanding that this could be constructive criticism. You know? So, and a lot of times people
That's a big one. That's a big one.
A lot of times people are so just careless with their emotions that they're so quick to just dismiss someone because their ego been bruised a little bit, you know? And I feel like that emotional discipline helps us get over those humps a lot of times. So that's what I mean by discipline. But what are some things you think though?
Man, you know, I think one of the biggest things, like, I don't suck at dating because I'm perfect.
Word.
Right? Right? I think that's one of the biggest things. And I think all of us have felt that at some point in time, like, yo, they tripping, man, she did this, he did that, you know, like I'm just here trying to be the best me that I can possibly be. And I think that be the problem. You just be focused on just trying to be you. When you're trying to connect with somebody else, at times you're gonna have to step outside of yourself, you know, in order to receive that person. You know, and obviously when you feel like that person, when you deem it valid, but you can't say it's tough until you do step outside of yourself and want to receive somebody. You can't say it's tough when you just doing you. You can't because you're only doing you. Why is that so difficult? You can't control what somebody do when you just doing you. You're not doing anything else in order to receive that person or bring that person in or step outside of yourself in order for that person to receive your vulnerability to understand, yo, you really want to be here because I'm not getting this from anywhere else. But most of us are dating and it's just like, I'm going to do me. And I know I've done that before. I've done that multiple times.
Yeah.
I think I've taken casual situations into serious situations, and I thought that my serious situation was going to flourish just simply because I moved it there. Nah, it doesn't work like that. Like, you're not, I actually have been telling people this. You're not dating seriously until you're doing things that you don't necessarily want to do. Because you're like, yo, you know what? I care about you so much that I'm going to step outside of what my comfort zone is in order to make you comfortable. And that's where
us to work.
In order for us to work.
Yeah.
And that's where the balance works. Like, it's a balance. Like, obviously the other person has to do it as well, but that's where the balance works. And you can't be focused on, I'm not doing it until they do it.
Yeah. You saying that, yo, I'm perfect at dating. That's really profound because when you're perfect, you don't need to get better. You know? When you're perfect, there's no room for improvement. If you feel like there's no room for improvement, then you're not going to take any constructive criticism.
No.
You don't feel like you need to change anything. You don't feel like you need to adapt to a person's needs and wants, you know? And I feel like that's dangerous.
You just made me think about, what did you just tell me about you've been asking yourself lately about your ego?
Oh, I told you that lately I've been really aware of my ego, and in moments where things may get like heated or hot, I ask myself, yo, is this bothering you or is this bothering your ego? Because when it's bothering your ego, or because a lot of times it's never really bothering Omar.
Correct. Correct.
Omar's actually okay with it.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. Omar's like,
doesn't
you know
hurt.
what? You're right. But for some reason, when my ego hears it, and that's the tricky thing about the ego. The ego is so powerful. You know what I mean? If we can allow it to control our mind, it will. So because everything is gonna, you got your ego on one side, and you on the other side, right? We're both hearing it at the same time. You know what I mean? It's about what you're gonna allow to feed it, what you're gonna feed it to. You know what I mean? But for me, I've just been very aware. And asking, and I think that's what you got to ask yourself in these situations. If you want to grow, if you want to be better at dating. If you don't want to suck at dating, in situations like that, you got to ask yourself, yo, is this bothering me or is this bothering my ego? Because the ego, it hurts. It hurts too. It bruises the ego. You know what I mean? But that's okay. Your ego will be okay.
Yeah.
You will be okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you got to ask yourself that question.
Yo, and for most of us, we actually want our dating lives to flourish. For most of us, you know, I don't want to just say all of us because there's gonna be some people in the comments talking about not everybody wants that. But
I'm just if you're in a relationship, you don't want it to flourish.
I'm saying
No,
people,
just dating.
just dating. Some people
just
say, "Well, I
I'm
don't
dating
care."
for fun.
But
you may be in that season of your life.
but I'm just saying though, for most of us, we want like when I hear guys and when I hear girls and they say, "Man, like it's so hard. The guys in LA are trash. The girls in LA are trash," and you know we are all just pointing the fingers at other people and never talking about, well, here's where I could be better. And until we do that, we're always going to be struggling in dating. Always. Okay. Okay.
Already, we made it there.
Okay.
I feel like it was a good point to
I think so.
You know
I think so.
What's the deal, y'all? Welcome back to the Nice and Neat Halftime Show. I'm your host, Omar. Welcome back, man. We're sitting here having a great conversation about why we all suck at dating. I've having so many flashbacks about so many mistakes I've made in my life.
We got to get into them.
We're gonna have to get into it. We're gonna have to get into it. But before we get into that, we're gonna get into one of my favorite segments of the show. We only have one segment of the show.
Hey, why I just realized
we need
some
some more.
that for 50-some episodes.
Oh, that is funny. Them the rules, Duke. Talk to us, man. What we got, bro?
Yo, so the internet has been calling Lori Harvey the female future.
Surprise!
You guys heard that?
Surprise.
Okay. Ironically, also the internet has called Future in the past toxic. All right. So my question to y'all, question to y'all, right? Is Lori Harvey's dating life toxic or progressive for women?
Okay.
Do I gotta run it back for y'all?
Run it back
Yeah,
for me
run it
one more
back.
time. One more time.
Let the listeners hear
it.
it. Let the listeners hear it again.
Is Lori Harvey's dating life toxic or progressive for women?
Can you repeat why you tied her and Future together?
Okay, so the internet, right? I don't know if you guys have been keeping up, but the internet has been calling Lori Harvey the female future.
Okay, I get you.
Right?
I get you.
And the internet also calls Future toxic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it makes me ask the question, is Lori Harvey's dating lifestyle, dating life, is it toxic or progressive for women?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not so sure why we're even asking why is it toxic? You know what I mean? If anything, for me, it's progressive. All she's doing is dating.
Well, does it? Okay, so
she ain't doing nothing different. She's just dating in the public. She's a celebrity.
I got you.
She's an A-lister.
I got you. I guess what I'm trying to say is celebrities are influential.
Sure.
Right? So people look to celebrities and mimic their actions and imitate their actions,
Sure.
whether it's right or stupid or not. That's what happens, right? So what I'm saying is when people look at Lori Harvey, when women look at Lori Harvey and they say, yo, no, I want to do that now, right? Is that ultimately progressive or toxic? Does it help or
But what
hurt?
is that? Is that just date multiple guys? Like, what is that
Well,
that we're saying? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So when people call her the female future, they're basically saying that like she moved like Future.
she dealing with men how she want. And moving on when she want.
Right. So
Yeah, I mean,
is it progressive or is toxic for women? What do you think?
I'm still on the side of progression.
Okay, how
I'm still
so?
on the side of the progression because at the end of the day, she's dating to find a partner that she wants to be with, right?
Okay.
If I hope that's the goal.
let's
If
just-
there's a goal,
Let's just
if there's a goal,
Let's just
I
move with the assumption that she's dating.
I don't think that's fair to move with the
But
assumption.
go ahead.
Okay, but she's looking to find a relationship like with someone that could be long lasting forever, right? If you enter the relationship you date and then you realize that this ain't the one, you gotta leave. You know what I mean? Like if you're in your career, if you're not even your career, if you working at a job and you realize, hey, you know what? I don't like this job no more. Why should you stay?
Right.
You should stay just for the sake of because you need a job.
Right.
Well, I mean, you could do that, but you're gonna lack a serious amount of passion. You know what I mean?
And
you definitely don't want to display that,
right?
huh?
And happiness.
And happiness. You don't want to display that within a relationship. So if I'm dating somebody and if I'm dating Future and I'm not happy and I want to move on to Michael B. Jordan, well then, if that's available, then I'm gonna do that. And like, what's so different from us doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what's so different from somebody moving from, I don't know, whoever, you know, Lori Harvey
You
to
better not. You better not.
Yeah.
You better not.
from Lori Harvey to Drea, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, like if that's what if you don't find happiness in this woman, well then I gotta move. And there's to me it's no hard feelings, no foul play, you know what I mean? But so like for me it's not toxic. That's why I would say it's more progressive than anything because at the end of the day she got to find her happiness. Okay. And who are we to say just because you with somebody that we think look good for you, it's perfect for her? It's not. You know what I mean?
Okay, so can I just add something before I pass it to you?
Go ahead.
Right? Because I kind of, you know.
He's a tweener.
So look though, because we do gotta remember that toxic and progressive is not necessarily pertaining to Lori Harvey. We're talking about toxic and progressive to women. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like if my lifestyle doesn't permit for me to go rap about drugs and I start rapping about drugs and I'm not a Future, then like I'm gonna probably go to jail. So that's toxic for me. Maybe not him because he's living a different life.
Yep.
Right. So I don't want to say it's necessarily pertaining to her. Right. So when we have these conversations about is it toxic for women or progressive for women, it means like the people looking up to her. You know, that's kind of what I'm looking at, and the people looking at her like, yo, I want to be that, and it's so great. It's great to be whatever you want, but is it helping or hurting? Jalon, to you.
I still want to reiterate. I'm still on the progressive side.
Okay.
So, Omar pushed the finish line a little bit further back because you said, yeah, if she's looking for love and she's looking for someone who she's gonna be with forever, then I mean, I've never heard a quote where she said that before.
Me either.
So
she's a woman. So
so why didn't we give Future that same grace? Because that's grace you just gave her. If you never heard her say that,
who don't women don't? I never said that. I never said Future.
But the point
Future
is
looking for the same thing.
Okay, but the point to the question was, Future is looked at as toxic. She's known as the female Future. If she's known as the female Future, is that progressive or is it toxic?
Question. She's known and he's known by both women, correct? Because men don't call either one of them toxic.
Yeah, men don't call Future toxic.
Men ain't calling Future toxic.
I think Future toxic.
But okay. Just yes or no. Just give me a yes or no so we can get back to is Future progressive?
Oh no. She's not out. She's not out making music, promoting that lifestyle.
Okay.
She's just dating.
Okay.
And she happens to be an A-list celebrity, so every photo gets captured.
Okay, you got some work now, Jalon. What's up?
Look, I'm going back to what the question was. If the question is, if she's like, for example, if you gave her the grace that she's looking for love, then she's just dating. I don't think she's doing anything wrong. But if she's just dating because she's just doing it just because it's fun and people are like, oh, she's young, she could do that, I think that's a toxic way of thinking for other people who are looking up to her. Who are people who are just looking up and they just be like, oh, I can do that because there's no age limit on when that begins or when that stops, and there's no goal that's created. Like any mission without a goal don't make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense.
I hear you.
So like if there's no goal to where it's like, yo, I am looking for the person that I am trying to be with, and I just haven't found it, then it's like, oh yeah, no, that's not toxic. This is progressive because she's actively out there in the field looking for what she's trying to get.
So are we saying that are you essentially,
I don't know.
Are you essentially leaning towards her being toxic because she's not on the front line saying I'm just casually dating? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's a very, very good question.
Is that what you're saying? Because
am I leaning towards
everyone
it?
doesn't have to come out and be like, yo, this is my lifestyle.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
no. Everybody doesn't have to come out and say that. But like there's plenty of people who are solid people, who are really looking for love, who have dated a bunch of people.
Yeah, I got you.
And it's like they've dated a bunch of people, but that's not the narrative that they hold. Like whether the narrative matter to people or not, like I think it's just like an individual thing. But since we asking Jelon, I think that I would lean on the more side of it would be on some like toxicity. But progressive also too is very subjective in this situation. So however society decides to move, progressive can be a good thing, or progressive can be for somebody who may be more of a conservative and maybe more of a bad thing. And I think when it comes to dating, I live in a more of a conservative space. And it's not a sexist thing, because I would say the same thing for a guy.
Yeah.
But because of dating, I live in more the conservative space. So I wouldn't want my daughter doing that, me personally. Personally, I wouldn't. I don't know how you brothers would feel about it if that was actually your daughter, but I think we could give situations more grace when it's not connected to us and we don't feel it.
Yeah.
You know, the same way, like, if your homie going through it with his girl in his relationship, you could be like, oh, leave her. But, like, you could go through the same thing and you'd be like, nah, it's just not that easy like that. Yeah. So I wish her the best, for real.
I understand. I
wish her the
both
best,
sides.
for sure. I understand both sides.
I understand both sides. I think that as an individual though, it's progressive, in the sense that she's showing women that they could really kind of create their own rules. That's progressive. When it comes to dating though, it's toxic, because now you got to deal with other people. And I think ultimately we would call Future toxic because of how he's handling people, or because of ultimately, you know, what can happen in the future because of his past behaviors, right, in the dating space. Right? We don't really have to look at guys acting that way as progressive, because we kind of do our own thing no matter what. But I feel like in her situation, I think that it's progressive as far as like showing women that I kind of just create my own rules and you know, break the mold. But as far as dating goes, toxic. And them.
Ladies, I'm on y'all side. Hey,
Ladies, I'm on y'all side.
ladies, I'm on y'all side.
These ladies are nice and neat ladies looking for love. Ain't that right? Ain't that right, ladies?
I think the ladies
the
that
ladies
watch
are nice and neat.
looking for love.
The ladies are nice and neat looking for love. And that ain't the way. That ain't the way.
Because, I mean, you talk about having whole households. If there's no goal, bruh, that don't look like what it's going to be.
Only, you know, if you're looking for love. All right. But let's wrap it.
Okay.
And them?
The
Rules.
With that said, we're going to conclude this week's halftime show and get to the rest of the show the only way we know how. That's with some positive energy, some positive vibrations, and a smile, of course. Second half now. Let's get into it.
Yo, so the first half, we were talking about how we suck. We suck at dating, right? We suck. And when I say we, I'm talking about us. You listening, you watching, us on the couch, all of us, you know, just being able to look inward. And I've always wanted to be like, I want to be better. Like, how do you get better? Right? And I think you can only take you so far when it comes to getting better. Just the same exact way you work out, you need a trainer, anything, right? And I thought something that has always been important to me is just having somebody who was in a destination of where you were trying to go. So, you know, I speak to a lot of married men about relationships, right? And when I have questions about relationships, I always ask, hey man, what blind spots do you see that I have? So, and when I say blind spots, we all got blind spots, because I think, once again, going back to operating in the ego, your ego operates as if it's perfect, right? Because that's just where you want to be. I want to be the best person I can possibly be. And when you tell me I'm not the best person I am, like, now you told me I stepped out of bounds, show me where I stepped out of bounds. How did I step out of bounds? And it's very difficult for your partner to tell you that. So sometimes you got to have somebody in the place of where you're trying to go show to you your blind spots, so you can fully understand exactly where you're falling short and where you're missing. So I know I got an old head who I chop it up with, and he explains to me my blind spots. He'll tell me like, hey, yo, Jelon, you know, in this situation, you can be real selfish. You know, and I think it's really important to just have somebody that you can speak to, as far as just giving you action things, having somebody that you can speak to about you, When you ask somebody for advice, it's tough to ask them about your partner because they only getting your partner without context, without, feeling, without emotion. They're not getting them in those spaces, but they know you. Yeah. So it's really important to ask people about you. So I know where I was sucking at was
you didn't have.
I wasn't using the people
in your corner.
in my corner like that, to help them discover my blind spots. So you're going to always have blind spots, but just having people point them out to you and have that accountability for you.
Did you feel like
it's important?
Nah, you just don't relate to me? Was it a situation where it's just like you saying you wasn't using them, and they was giving you game, but you was just disregarding it? Is it because it's like, yo, you kind of don't know my situation like you think you do?
Nah, man. Sometimes you don't want to learn what you already know. Like, you don't want to learn more about yourself sometimes. Yeah. You don't want to see the ugly in you sometimes.
Yeah, I think that.
Are you ready for that?
Well,
it's not ready sometimes.
Fear too, man. Yeah. It's scary having to confront yourself. It's scary having to confront yourself and tell yourself, man, this is what I need to work on, and it's me.
That's crazy. You just
It's scary.
Would you say the operative word in there is the work?
The work.
The work.
Yeah, the work.
Right? You understand the work that's up that you up against.
Yeah.
You look up, you're like, yo, this is a steep hill I'm gonna have to climb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just think about learning things. There's a lot of things that you have to unlearn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I've been moving this way for so long, and I got to peel back these layers and start moving a new way. You know, to find the happiness I want.
Facts. I was just actually speaking to Chanel about it. I forget what we were watching, but we were having a conversation about how people don't realize, people feel like they don't have to do the work until they seriously start dating. But you really got to do the work once you start dating, no matter where you at. And that work changes depending on the level you're at. But the work, you still got to put it in. And I feel like we're just all lazy. I just feel like we're all lazy.
Undisciplined.
And we're all lazy, and we're doing the bare minimum to try to get the maximum out of the other person. Like we're literally trying to do as little as possible in order to protect our ego, protect our emotions, but then still extract the most out of the person that we're dealing with. And logically, it just doesn't make sense. I forget what I was watching, bruh. Wow. There was a podcast a while back. This girl and this guy were on the podcast, and the girl asked the guy, she says, on the first date, when you're picking a girl up, what's your process? He's like, yo, I pull up and I text her and I tell her to come out.
No way.
I tell her to come out, and she's like, yo, why didn't you just go ring the doorbell? And his response was literally like, yo, that's too much work. I'm not doing all that. Mm-hmm.
I know, yeah, I've seen that.
And
yeah.
And that thought process of just being afraid. There's a thought process for men and women of being afraid to just exert yourself to get what you want.
Take the extra step.
Just take the extra step, right? It does leave your pride at home. It's not about who's doing what for. Just do it, because 9 times out of 10, you take the extra step, you're gonna get something back in return. And I feel like we struggle with just doing the work. We're just super lazy when it comes to dating, because we feel like it's supposed to come to us. Men feel like women are supposed to give it up easily. Women feel like men are supposed to just give them the world without, just for the simple fact that they exist as a woman. There's another story.
Come on, story time.
I wouldn't even call it a story, but there's somebody I follow on Instagram, and I respect her and her husband's relationship. And she posted a story one time, or posted a video one time, and she was talking about how, it's talking to women about not to be so offended when you hear a man say what do you bring to the table, right? It's not really a disrespect thing. It's just a man saying, okay, well, I hear all these things you want out of me, but what can you offer that's gonna make us work, right? And somebody in the comments, a girl in the comments said, women deserve XYZ for the simple fact that we are women, right? And the girl that made the video, she commented, she said, yo, we gotta do more than just exist. we can't just exist and expect everything to be given to us, and the dating space and our dating lifestyles to be, princess like, fairy tale like.
Does that fall back into ego?
I think that falls into laziness. Cause like I don't want to do anything, but like you got to do something for me.
But not ego, just feeling like, yo, that's more like.
That's too though. That's too that works as well.
Yeah.
A lot of these things go hand in hand. But I just think it's so interesting how in the dating space, even in the dating space at the very early stages, whether you're casually dating or seriously dating, like there has to be some kind of exertion from both parties for it to make it work. All right, we both got to make this work, because dating is a collaborative effort. It takes two to tango. So you can't just sit back and like let me do the dating for both of us. We got to do this together. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. And I think men struggle with that as well. Men definitely struggle with that as well, right? Especially if you a man with money. It's a lot of things you expect a woman to do because you got money, because TV told you that a woman gonna do whatever you want if you got money.
This is the best currency in a relationship.
You feel me? So it's just like, like I got this, you want this, so you got to do this. So if she's just not abiding by those societal standards, then it's like, you whack.
I think the operative word is vulnerability. Wow. Was that something you
That was my next thing. Like, that's another reason why I sucked at dating.
Yeah.
Lack of vulnerability.
You lack vulnerability, right?
Go ahead.
I seen this, man, this was probably the most profound post I've seen all summer. I don't want to say all year. I don't want to do that. I seen this girl, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. She tweeted, she said, "Man, I seen the man of my dreams, and I can't wait till I'm ready, because right now he's out of my league." Right? Somebody comments, this was like, "Sis, you look good. You got a good job. Ain't no man out of your league. You can go get whoever you want." And she said, look. She tweeted him back, "Look, let me tell you what I'm talking about. Right now, the way that my emotions are set up and the way that I'm not able to handle situations, he's out of my league. I have a lot of self-development that I need to do before I even bring myself to him. I need to make myself whole before I can even be a part of his life. I see the way he handles situations. I see the way he deals with things. And I just hope it's a whole bunch of girls that's wasting his time up until the point that I get ready." Right? Real. And me and my girl, we sat down and we talked about it, because that was actually a big approach that she had prior to us actually getting serious in our relationship. So it was real relatable in our relationship. And I think that right there is like one of the most mature things and most accountable things I've ever seen a woman say or do. And I experienced it prior to seeing this tweet personally within my relationship, but seeing that more women come around to that understanding, especially when you get older, because I don't think that's like a young woman characteristic. I think as you get older and you have some experiences and you're like, yo, I have everything that I want except the things that I want. So it's like, what do I need to work on? And you start having to look inward. When you have everything else around you and you have to start now looking inward, is when you become your best version of yourself. So for her to say that, I thought it was real interesting, because accountability is something that I think we all lack. But a lot of times, just growing up as a woman, especially a beautiful woman, accountability is something that's very, very tough to grasp, because a lot of things have been a lot of attention has been thrown your way. So much to where sometimes it becomes a blind spot for you. You're not able to fully grasp, like, man, well, how can I make myself more whole? And I just thought it was so interesting, and to see that level of accountability was amazing to me, truth be told. And I think we all could take something from that, male and female. We all can take something from that level of creating yourself to be whole before you even attempt to go date. And that makes your dating more intentional. I think most of us don't date intentionally.
More accurate too.
Yeah, and more accurate. You have a target now.
Yeah.
I don't think we date intentionally, and I don't think we date looking for a target. So we just go out there and we shoot our shot, and we be like, why I didn't make it? Like, you didn't even practice for this moment. You didn't prepare yourself for this moment at all. So
I was one of those guys.
yeah, I think
I was one of those guys.
just get out, just roll out the ball. It'd be like Pete,
Yeah. I used to have I have no goal, no purpose, no intention, no target. I wish to just go, And I was also one of those guys that looked at women and thought, man, ain't nobody good enough. Right? Not saying that, yeah. Yeah.
who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah.
Hey,
But
smooth.
not in this sense. Not in this sense where no one's good enough. Like no one, like I'm better than everyone, but no one's good enough. No one's worth me actually saying, nah, forget everything else. Here's where I'm gonna be. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm locked in. I'm just for you. I used to be that guy. But so when we're talking about, lacking the discipline and, lacking consistency, like O said, this is really from experience. This is from experience, and we've had enough conversations with each other, and we've had enough conversations with other people, men and women, very experienced men and women, married people, single people. We've had so much conversation, and even if you just look at the landscape of social media and the internet, a lot of these things are consistent, like, habits and behaviors and stuff like that. So, we just want to reiterate, man, we want you guys to take away, we want you guys to look inward. All right. We want you to look inward and really look in the mirror and dive into who you are as a person and look at the areas that you lack and really, really be brutally honest with yourself about your dating life and the struggles in your dating life. Is it really that you don't like the way, the guy dresses? Is it really that? Is it really that, she's annoying? Is it really that she talks too much? Ask yourself those questions. What's the real problem? And how can you work on it? And I think, you'll become, you'll just have a better shot in your dating life. All right, fellas, do we have anything else?
Yeah, I was just curious. No, it's not even like regarding the episode, but just curious to know about our listeners, our viewers, those particularly in LA, because I would assume we would want to start something like this in LA. But curious to know if you guys would be interested in like a live Q&A from us, where we sat on a panel and we just had like just an open forum discussion, you know what I mean, for an hour and a half, 90 minutes, whatever it is, 90 minutes, hour and a half, same thing, right? But I think we could add a lot of value to a lot of people's lives just by having a more direct conversation rather than topics that we decide to pick. And I think it'd be a cool moment for us to sit and engage and connect with our audience and just our fan base. So if that's something y'all interested in, drop it in the comments below, and we'll get to working on that plan.
Also, all right, we need some female energy on here. So if there's any females out there that you want to see on Nice and Neat, tag them right now in the comments. Tag them right now in the comment section, description section. We looking for more female energy, and we need y'all help to get it done. Let us know who your favorite person is, who you want to hear, who you want to come sit on Nice and Neat's couch and chop it up with the gang, and yeah, and break bread. But Jelon, anything else?
Nah, man, this was a great episode, fellas.
Okay.
This is great.
Okay, y'all, man, appreciate
you. Got me looking at myself. I'm about to go home. I'm about to go home, bro. And look, because we use the word.
Go home and do some homework.
Yeah, we use the word submit a lot for women. Like that's a trigger word, but everybody got to submit.
You got to submit for sure.
Everybody has to submit.
Ooh, that's another one. We can talk about that.
You don't like vulnerability. You don't like vulnerability. You can submit.
Oof.
Just submit, bro. Give it up.
But y'all, appreciate you guys for tuning in and tapping in and watching with us and listening with us. You can follow us on all social platforms, TikTok, Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook as well. You can follow us on YouTube as well. Subscribe to our podcast at Spotify, at Apple Music. Am I missing anything else, fellas?
I think that's it. Go spam Revolt's page.
Go spam Revolt's page.
Go spam Revolt's page.
Nice
Danny,
and neat,
am I
nice
missing
and neat.
anything,
Yeah.
Danny?
At Nice and Neat,
Leave the
all throughout
glasses.
there.
Leave the glasses.
Go shop. Go shop.
shop.
Nice and neat the podcast.com. Go shop. Go get the merch. Follow me on Instagram at Duke. Follow Omar.Bowden, and Jelon is just.Jelon. And we'll tap in with you guys next time. Much love, much gratitude. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jelon. This is another episode of Nice and Neat, and that's that on that.
I'll
Peace.
be the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting old, now I don't got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance, I stand. I'm going.